Okay, all right. So today we are going to start a new series. I think I am done with Cetra. So let's change our stream title. If I could type. There, stream title should be changed. Theoretically, yeah, looks like it is. Okay. So today we're going to start a new series. So if you have never played, I'm going to call this Learning to Total War with Emperor Karl Franz. So if you have never played Total War ever in your life, this series is for you. So when you first open Total War 3 and you click on New Campaign, like I just did, you're going to be presented with three options. The Lost God is basically, it's a prologue to the Realms of Chaos, but it is also basically a tutorial on how to play the game. This did not exist in previous games. It didn't exist in Total War 1, didn't exist in Total War 2. So there is finally kind of it's not kind of, it's a mini campaign to teach you the essentials of the game. The Realms of Chaos is the campaign that launched with Total War 3. It is the story campaign that tells a story, well, it says right there, story-driven experience that tells a story that Game 3 is based on. That's all I'm going to say about that. We may play that at some point. What most people play is Immortal Empires. And what Immortal Empires is it's all three games put together into one giant map that encompasses the entire world. So in Game 1, there was no Immortal Empires because Game 1 covered sort of the middle of the map, and that's all there was just Game 1. When Game 2 came out, Game 2 did all the western side of the map. And so it had its own, Total War 2 had its own story campaign as well. But then later, not when it launched, but later on, they came up with a new game mode called Mortal Empires. And Mortal Empires combined both of Game 1 and of Game 2 into one giant map that was the middle and the far west. So when they did Game 3, they already knew they were going to do this, and now instead of Mortal Empires, it is called Immortal Empires, and it's the entire world, all three games, all together.
As I hold Gal Maraz.
So if you were playing Immortal Empires and you have all of the DLCs, then these are all of the different factions you can play. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 24 different factions. And every single faction has multiple lords. Every faction plays slightly differently from every other faction, and every legendary lord within a faction has slightly different advantages or disadvantages. They play slightly different for each faction. There is a lot of debate about who or what you should play as your very first game in Total War. And a lot of people will recommend the Empire, and I think that is a solid choice. A long time ago, I would have recommended the Dwarves. Back in Total War 2 days, I would have recommended the Dwarves because they are very hardy, they are very defensive, they are hard to kill, so you can take your time a little more with some of the battles and it gives you a little more time to learn. and you can set up defensive formations and let your artillery do a lot of the work and your crossbowmen do a lot of the work. But dwarves have become more complicated in the current meta. And the grudge mechanic in particular sort of forces you to push out. So you, on the campaign map, you can't play them quite as defensively. So we're going to go with the Empire. If you will notice, this symbol is Creative Assembly's recommended first campaigns. So both the Empire and the High Elves, man, I don't know about Grand Cathay being a recommended first campaign, but okay, this is who they recommend. I don't disagree with the Empire. The Empire, each faction acts as its own autonomous feudal state. Basically, the Empire is kind of like city-states. Some focusing on uniting the elector provinces through acts of fealty and imperial authority, whilst others have their own agendas far from home, pursuing unique goals in service to the Empire. The Empire has access to a wide variety of units and employs this flexibility to outfight their enemies on the field. Having somewhat mediocre unit quality, the Empire relies upon a combined arms approach to win. And that is very true. The Empire is meant to be a combined arms force, and their main infantry, pound for pound, is not quite as good as some of the other factions. Certainly not as good as Khorne, which is like Khorne and Slaanesh, which is like the ultimate melee infantry people. So they rely on having a decent front line combined with ranged units, combined with cav, combined with spellcasters and artillery, that all works in concert. That's the point of them. Lying at the heart of the old world, the Empire is the greatest and most powerful of all the kingdoms forged by men. Yeah, that's mostly accurate. But it is a realm in constant turmoil, both from enemies without and strife from within, as rival elector counts vie for the throne. Whether fighting between themselves or the many exterior invaders, the greatest nation of man can muster a formidable army of disciplined warriors, magic, steam-powered wonders, and menageries of fantastical beasts. Now the twin-tailed comet blazes across the sky once again, and a new emperor has been crowned. Surely an omen that the time has come to unite the Empire, secure its borders, and bring prosperity to its beleaguered citizens. So the twin-tailed comet is a recurring omen or theme in the world of Warhammer, and some herald it as an indicator of luck or like an upturn. Why can't I think of what I'm trying to say right now? Anyway, like an omen for good, basically, and some hail it as an omen of disaster. And historically speaking, yes, it has been both. Now, the other things you will want to look at when you start your very first campaign is campaign and battle difficulty. So battle difficulty literally means how hard is it when you are on the battle map fighting battles. How hard is the enemy to defeat? And cranking it down to like easy, from like easy to normal to hard to very hard, the units get more hit points, more stat bonuses, more buffs, more kind of just everything. So the higher you crank this, then the more difficult it will be to actually defeat a battle on the field of battle with your army. Campaign difficulty is supposed to control how hard the campaign in general is. So what that does is it gives like monetary buffs, reduces recruitment time, it affects how every other faction, other than you as the player, is going to act on the campaign map. And there's a setting above very hard called Legendary. But Legendary comes with additional restrictions beyond just making the game harder. It turns on this battle realism mode, which actually affects your camera on the battlefield. You can't just freely pan your camera around the battlefield. It's kind of locked on your army. And I'm not a fan of that. So your very first campaign, you should not feel bad about putting this on easy and easy, not at all. And then just sort of build your way up or work towards very hard or even legendary. Now, there is one other setting that you need to be aware of, and I'm trying to think where that setting is right now. Options, I think. Game settings. Options, game settings. The other thing you can do is you can turn on an advisor, and it will give you suggestions during the game. Why can't I find... It might actually be under the graphics options. There it is, unit size. Sorry that took me so long to find it. So under options, graphics, advanced, unit size, so this is literally, so on Ultra, if a unit of spearmen has 100 men in it, then on small it has like 20 men. So this literally controls how many men, how many entities are within each unit on the battlefield, and it's mostly meant to be like a graphical thing, but if you crank the unit size down to small and drop like a super powerful spell on a small unit, it'll just get like obliterated. And the power of magic, by the way, is also controlled by one of the difficulty settings. I think it might be the battle difficulty. So yeah, if you want battles to last a little longer, for there to be, if your graphics card can handle it, and you want more men on the field and battles to last a little longer, then crank your unit size up. Anyway, sorry. So we've talked about the difficulty settings.
Summon the Elector Counts.
I've talked about these before, but these are the two new AI settings that they put in recently, just a couple of months ago. So this one is meant to... So there are major factions like the Empire that we're about to play, and then the map is dotted with minor factions. Usually the minor factions just get steamrolled by all of the other major factions, since there's, 24 major factions and multiple lords in each faction, and those are all strewn around the map. So this setting is meant to have those minor factions be a little more impactful. Maybe they won't all just get wiped out in the first few turns. And then this setting, yeah, so I mean, you can kind of read it. So what I'm not entirely sure about this, so when checked, campaign difficulty settings, so I'm on campaign difficulty very hard, right here, campaign difficulty, are overridden so that the AI factions are always better at assessing threats based on strength and proximity of rivals. So they take strength and how close the threat is more seriously than they would with this unchecked. In addition, they generally will have increased hostility towards factions they haven't met. Interesting. So what I'm not really sure about with that is, so if you're nearby and you're a rival, then they will, then relative strength, your relative strength to one another will play a major factor in how the AI thinks about you. But that doesn't really tell me. Sorry, I'm doing a lot of talking. That doesn't really tell me. I'm going to sneeze. Sorry about that. But it doesn't really tell me if that's for good or ill. And maybe that's because it's not. Maybe it's just, it makes its assessment based off of your relative strengths, and that's just it. Okay, you can turn on the endgame stuff. I just don't usually bother to do it. I've done it multiple times. We'll play a game eventually at some point with endgame stuff. I don't really find the endgame stuff all that interesting. But anyway. The Empire,
I command here.
Karl Franz is like the main, I mean, it's Emperor Karl Franz. He is the Emperor of the Empire. He's like the main dude. So here's the starting army and his effects. So faction effects, it affects the entire faction. Has access to the elector counts, enabling access to powerful state troop units and ancillaries. You'll get to see that. Immune to diplomatic penalties from trespassing in Empire regions. Oh, I think that's new. So Karl Franz can go anywhere in the Empire and it doesn't actually aggravate the other elector counts. That's enormous. That didn't used to be a thing. So what would happen is you're the Emperor and you're trying to unify the Empire. And then if you had an enemy and your enemy was on the other side of an elector count's lands, you couldn't actually get to the enemy because you would trespass in the lands of a fellow elector count, and then he would get all angry at you and declare war on you for trespassing. Allegiance points gained, campaign movement range. Oh, I did not remember that all of Karl's armies get plus 10%. I mean, that's per allied faction. So the more allies we have, the greater our growth. Interesting. So that right there might explain why I keep saying Empire armies with huge movement distances. So, Lord effects. So this is specific to Karl Franz and Karl Franz's army. The faction effects affect his whole faction. The Lord effects affect just Karl and his army. Can replenish in neutral territory. Upkeep minus 20% for elector count state troops. Additional plus 5% weapon strength and missile damage per experience rank for all elector count state troops. So for every level, wow. So for every level that Karl Franz goes up, elector count troops get plus 5% weapon strength and missile damage. So theoretically, if you are level 50, they should be getting plus 250% weapon strength and missile damage. That's insane. I have not played Karl for quite a while. I think that's new too. Or they've at least changed like the percentage or something. That's enormous. Alright, the map. So this is, Karl starts right in the heart of the Empire. This sort of area that I'm spinning the mouse around is the Empire. You can see how big the map is. It's literally like the whole world. And lore of the Empire. Emperor Karl Franz. The Emperor is Karl Franz, Prince of Altdorf and Elector Count of Reichland. So he is both the Emperor and he is an Elector Count. Karl Franz is said to be the greatest statesman the Old World has ever seen. He is also a military genius and a valiant general. The Emperor frequently takes personal command of his soldiers, wielding Gal Maraz, the fabled hammer of Sigmar, like the warrior god of old. Smiting enemies of the Empire with every blow, Karl Franz often rides to battle on the back of Deathclaw, reputed to be the mightiest imperial griffin that ever lived. A powerful bond exists between the beast and its master, one forged in countless battles and many adventures. During the Battle of Blood Keep, Deathclaw stood over the prone form of the wounded Emperor for 3 hours, slaying any who came near until the Reichsguard could hack a path to their fallen lord. The Empire. Lying at the heart of the Old World, the Empire is the greatest and most powerful of all the kingdoms forged by men. But it is a realm in constant turmoil, both from enemies without and strife from within. I think we already read that. Yeah, that's the same as the blurb on the other screen. So that's fine. All right. You can also look at all their spells and all their units if you click on this. The army starts with a greatsword, a Caribur greatsword, halberdiers, some swordsmen, some handgunners, a unit of Reichsguard, and a mortar. Here we go. From the icy sea of claws in the north to the soaring black mountains in the south, the individuality of the Empire's provinces is much defined by its landscape. Its vast forests provide food and the materials of production, while wide rivers and traversable valleys facilitate trade and transport. Yet at times, the land itself seems to strive against progress, concealing monsters and enemies of all sorts among its craggy passes and dark groves. Peril awaits within and without, but the nations of men have thus far proved equal to the challenge.
Now is the time, men of the Empire, to unite!
Now is the time to unite! Emperor Karl Franz must protect the Empire at all costs. Path to victory, Reichland. Emperor Karl Franz must protect the Empire at all costs by expanding its authority and bringing the entire nation under his banner, either by pandering to the Elector Counts or through his military might. To help defeat both foreign and domestic enemies of the Empire, Karl Franz may use electoral machinations to perform special powers with his own faction and the Elector states while manipulating diplomatic relationships. Once the Empire is united and its enemies are crushed, campaign victory will be achieved.
The secessionists send out a force to stall your advance. Take the fight to them, and demonstrate the manner in which you will regain mastery of these lands.
So here's the advisor, and the funny part is the advisor is actually like an agent of Tiznich. So if you ever watch, we should watch the intro sometime. If you ever watch the intro, there's a magic tome called the Book of Fate, and it's kind of a cursed tome, and this guy finds it, and the book almost actually kind of like controls or drives him. So And that's who they use as the advisors. So, and that's like intentional. So the advisor meant to be like, you're never really quite sure if the advisor's on your side or if he's like manipulating you. It's kind of funny. Our opening mission: defeat an army belonging to the following faction in battle: the Empire Secessionists. So these are people trying to secede from the Empire, to break the Empire up. Our enemies gather to strike against us once more. Attack first and deny them the opportunity to reach full strength. Left-click an army to select it. Right-click an enemy to attack. And we will get $500. So this is our first army to attack. This is our army to work with. And it does not look like we have any heroes or anything. So that's fine. Quite a few factions will start with an army, and then there will be a hero right next door, and it's up to you whether you use that hero as a scout on the campaign map, or whether you put the hero into your army. Up along here at the top, you can see our total treasury, our income per turn, and this is Imperial Authority. So you earn prestige. We're only making 1 prestige per turn right now. You earn prestige, and with prestige, you can buy Imperial Authority. And I believe. So Imperial Authority will... No, that's not quite right. I'm sorry. So Imperial Authority, I believe, is just... Yeah, it's just an increasing buff. So the more of the Empire that we control, the more Imperial Authority you have, and the greater the buffs that you get. Prestige is earned by winning battles and doing stuff. And prestige is what you can buy various things with, including absorbing, basically just taking over. So when it said unify the Empire through diplomacy or through battle, you can use prestige to basically just absorb one of the elector counts into the Empire, thus unifying the Empire. So this is... Let's just scroll out a little more. Yes, okay. So this is the Empire, and these are the various elector counts or provinces. So the Reichland is like the heart of the Empire, even though it's like not in the middle of it. The River Reich, which is this river right here that goes out to the Southern Sea of Chaos and the Sea of Claws. The River Reich is like one of the main arterials of the Empire in general. You can see it forks at Altdorf. Altdorf is the capital of the Empire. It forks and it runs through, like it runs the whole way through the north, right to the mountains, or I should say from the mountains to the sea is how it runs. Same way there's like a southern fork. There's a southern fork and an even more southern fork. There's like multiple forks to the River Reich. I think some of these other forks are called something else. I believe this main fork right here is mainly the River Reich. It too runs right to the World's Edge Mountains, home of the dwarves. But that river is like one of the main arterials that moves goods. Goods move by land, but the River Reich is one of the main arterials that is used to move goods throughout the Empire. Without the River Reich, troops, supplies, raw materials would not move through the Empire at the rate that they do, which is exactly why Altdorf is placed right at like the heart of the River Reich. And Altdorf would be like the gateway to the sea, if not for Marienburg. So Marienburg is like one of the busiest ports in like all of the world. And if Marienburg were not there, Altdorf would be the gateway to like the rest of the world for the Empire. And so Marienburg and Altdorf are somewhat, they're both human-held cities, but they're somewhat in competition or at odds, because Marienburg is the bigger port, but is the capital of the Empire. Altdorf also has large, vast, busy ports. And so they're somewhat, as major port cities, they're somewhat at odds with one another. Anyway, one of the first things when you are playing Total War Warhammer to understand is your empire building or city building. So you can either, so if you notice, this is like the province name right here, Reichland, and then it will show you the various settlements within the province. Altdorf is the capital, which is why you see it has 9 building slots, well 10 technically, but you know, you can't change what's in this slot. This is always the main settlement. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 9 slots, and then lesser settlements only have 4 slots, and technically only 3 are customizable. But there are 3 lesser settlements in the Reichland, and Altdorf is the capital. Most provinces work this way. There is a main capital city that can go to tier 5, and the rest of the lesser settlements can only go to tier 3. What do I mean by that? Well, if we hit this little button right here, the building browser, then Altdorf, as it levels up, can go the whole way to tier 5. But the lesser settlements, I can't click on them right now because I don't own any, can only go to tier 3. So if you notice, some building chains, like Altdorf's Imperial Wharf, can be upgraded the whole way to tier 5, and then other building chains can only go to tier 3. So you can't build, you can't build an engineer's guild hall in a lesser settlement. Lesser settlements only go to tier 3, so you can only build up to a foundry, and then the engineer's workshop and the engineer's guild hall will be blocked out if you are in a lesser settlement. So you have to, if you want the engineer's guild hall, it has to be built in the capital city of a province, an actual like 9 slot or 8 slot city. It cannot be built in a lesser settlement. Now, so that's the first thing to know. Main cities get 5 tiers, lesser settlements get 3 tiers. So you have to, if there's a building, there's a tier 5 building you really want, that has to go in your main settlement, and these building chains that stop at 3 tiers, they should be shunted off to your lesser settlements. So, you know, so this is a good example. You might be tempted to immediately delete the training field because you would rather have the training field in a lesser settlement. But right now the training field is like the only thing letting us recruit stuff. So you don't want to delete it yet. Okay. Anyway, that's enough talk about tiers. When you are in the building browser, you can see that these buildings are also, that there's not only building chains that build up to a tier, but they're all separated into sections. So ports always go into this separate section. If your city or town does not have a port, this will not appear. Any unique buildings that the settlement might have, and not all settlements have them. They refer to them as landmark buildings, but they're actually unique. The only place you will find this building is in Altdorf. So landmark or unique buildings go in this purple. Resources go in this section, and I can't think of any, but you can have multiple resource buildings. Resources are what are tradable to other factions. So if you make trade deals with other factions, it's these resources that you have to have in order to trade. So if I never build this resource, I don't have a resource and can't do trade. So if you start a game and you're trying to figure out, why can't I trade with the people around me? Likely it is because you have no resources to trade because you have not built any resource buildings. The next one are basic military buildings. So the basic military gets its own section, and then like advanced military, they call it military support, but advanced military gets its own section. Defensive buildings gets its own section. And then infrastructure. Infrastructure is control of the province, income for the province, growth of the province. Those are like your support buildings that support the province as a whole. Things like this, paved roads, which add campaign movement range and reduce global recruitment time and also give an income bonus. So you can see right away that even though you have 9 slots, the port can't be deleted. The port is hard-coded. This building is hard-coded, so you have to have these 2 buildings. So you really only have 7 slots. And then if you want all 3 landmark buildings, well, now you've only got 6 slots. If you want the tradable resource, you've only got 5 slots. And then if you want all these advanced military buildings, that's 3 more slots. Now you've only got 2 slots. If you want walls, now you've only got 1 slot. So in some regards, there's only like one optional building here. Most of the rest of the buildings are all basically mandatory. Now that won't always be the case. Most settlements, if they have a landmark building, don't have 3 of them. It's only because we're in Altdorf and the Reichland that we have 3 landmark buildings. So that is how buildings work. So you always have to build the lowest tier building first, and then when it completes, you can upgrade it to the next tier, and when that completes, you can upgrade it to the next tier. If you hover over it, it will tell you what the building does. In the bottom right, it gives the cost to purchase to start building that building, and in the top left, it shows 1 and an hourglass. That's how many turns it will take to build. So if I were going to build the clay pit, it would cost 500 gold and it would take 1 turn to build. If I upgrade to the pottery maker, it costs another 1,000 on top of the 500 and it takes 2 turns to build. And then when I upgrade to the kilns, it takes another 2,000 and would take an additional 3 turns. Now, over time, actually I'll phrase that a different way. So when or how can you build new buildings? So right now we don't have any free slots. We are tier 1. Having your main building, Altdorf Hamlet, having your main building at tier 1 for the Empire only unlocks 2 slots, and those slots are already filled. So we can't build any other buildings until we upgrade our main settlement. Altdorf has to go from a hamlet to a village, which costs 2,000 gold, takes 3 turns, and it also requires, right here in the green circle, 1 population surplus, which we have currently. You can see down here, we have 1 population surplus. So that's the first thing we're going to do, is we're going to start Altdorf upgrading to a village. And that immediately spends our 1 growth, and now we have 0 growth. None of the other buildings you can see require growth. Only the main settlement buildings require growth. And I'll cancel this for a second. We're going to have, so if we spend this 2,000 and we wait 3 turns for Altdorf to upgrade from a hamlet to a village, in order for us to go from a village to a town, we need 2 growth. How do we get 2 growth? Well, right down here you can see that we are already making 25 growth per turn. 20 of that is just because the village gives you 10 growth. I think you must get like 10 growth by default. And then our current level of Imperial Authority is giving us 5. So it tells you the source of your growth. It tells you we're making 25 per turn. And it tells you that we have 0 out of 125. So we have to hit 125 to get 1 surplus. So in 5 turns, 25 times 5 is 125. In 5 turns, we will have 1 surplus. For us to earn 2 surplus, that 125 goes up. So it's not 125 each time. If you have 1 surplus, then it costs more to get 2 surplus. And if you have 2 surplus, it costs more to get 3 surplus. And if you have 3 surplus, it costs more to get 4 surplus. So each surplus exponentially costs more. So it takes longer and longer and longer to go from tier 1 to tier 2, from 2 to 3, from 3 to 4, and from 4 to 5. Which is why growth buildings, such as this, are so important, because they will increase the rate at which our settlement grows, which increases the rate at which we can upgrade, which increases our number of slots and the number of buildings, and all of the stuff that we can build. So the real core of growing your empire is growth. And there are multiple things that can affect it. So that is how you build your empire.
What?
Now, let's do battle. So this little quest thing, this little scroll is here because we have a quest to fight this guy. That was the quest that I read out right at the start of all of this. So let's go fight him. So this is the battle deployment screen. It will show you all of your forces. It will show you all of the enemy forces. It shows you how much magic you each have to work with. It will show you right here any special abilities that are currently in effect. He has none, or they would be right here. And this is where you can actually see like Skaven abilities, like their ability to summon additional clan rats right onto the battlefield. That is where this would be listed. So there is a lot of information here. This little button down here will show you the map that you're going to fight on. So if the terrain is key to your strategy, you can preview the terrain to sort of plot your strategy. This little button down here will do a quick save just right here. If you load the quick save, you will come back right to this screen. This lets you go, oh, no, I don't think I can win that. Let me back off and not do this attack. But you have already moved, and it will cost movement to retreat. So you will not have, your army will not have its full movement if you break off from the battle. This lets you auto-resolve the battle, and if you notice, one of my swordsmen in my army has started flashing red. That lets you know. So it tells you right here that this is a close victory. So this isn't a decisive victory. This is going to be a close battle according to the auto-resolve, and we will take medium casualties. So everybody will lose roughly half their life. All of these units will lose about half of their hit points if we auto-resolve this. In addition, when you hover over it, that swordsman is flashing red because that swordsman is going to die if we auto-resolve this. And then finally, this button will let us fight it manually, which is what we're going to do. So you can already see, if you have never played Total War before, there's kind of a lot going on the screen. And it can be overwhelming. It was certainly overwhelming to me the very first time I ever played. But basically, my recommendation is just take like one thing at a time. You know what I mean? Like, auto-resolve all your battles. Don't really, even if it means guys die, don't really worry too much about battles. Just auto-resolve all your battles and figure out how you like to build buildings. How building your buildings and getting growth and upgrading your settlements, figure out how all that works. There's a lot of buildings in there. You're going to want to hover over each building and actually read like what each building does. And just take your time and figure out like one thing at a time. When you've got like building settlements sort of figured out, maybe start fighting some battles manually and figure out how that works. Just take one thing at a time. There's no need to like freak out or stress out over it, and just enjoy. Just enjoy the game, basically. Just relax and have fun.
We serve Franz! The Empire endures!
Okay. Oh, sorry. I should have been talking while I did that. So this is the battle screen. Over here on the left, it will show you the stats of all of the guys. Like each one that you click on, it will show you all of their stats. Shows you all their stats. It shows you all of their traits, their special abilities that they have. So for instance, great swords, which are like a tier 3 infantry, not a tier 1 infantry, have armor piercing, anti-infantry, and the Carroburg great swords have a magical aura, which does, oh wow, they buff everybody around them. So really, if we were smart, we would put the great swords in the middle, because then they will buff everybody around them. Okay. Not going to talk about all this stuff right now. That's one of the things you can sort of figure out like later. Oh, that's not what I want. There. Okay. So if you see, I can drag guys around within the formation. But how did I make that formation? So you can drag banding box, as they call it. Left click and drag to highlight a bunch of units. You can click on a unit to highlight it, hold control, and keep clicking multiple units to highlight them. And down here, you can click on a unit and then shift click to highlight everything in between if you want. Once you have a bunch of units highlighted, you can hold the control key and hit a number, and that will assign it to a control group, just like most RTSs. Control 1 assigns these guys to this group, Control 2 assigned these guys to that group, Control 3 assigned him to that group, Control 9, and Control 0. Once they're in the group, simply hitting the key 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 activates or highlights or puts you in control of that control group. I'm not going to talk about those yet. That's the basics of battle. We're going to fight this battle. I will talk in more detail about other parts of it as we go along.
Yet our
So he's
quarry
going
is
to come
neither
right
born
at
nor
us,
dear.
and that's
No.
because our mortar is going to start firing.
So shall we. We will become part of the legend. By order of the Grand Theogenist, show no mercy!
Take position! Quickly!
So those mortars aren't doing a very good job, but that's not super surprising.
No lingering!
I love the sound of the mortars. Did a great job on the sound effects for this game. Yeah, mortars have a really wide spread.
Moving now! Go!
Like a large area of effect. They spread out a lot. There's our gunmen starting to fire.
Reichsguard Knights!
I'm just trying to stay out of the range of those crossbowmen. What I'm trying to do.
Sigmar calls! Prepare for combat!
Swordsman! Sigmar calls!
Take position!
So they ended up taking one volley. But those Reichsguard should crush.
Soldiers of the Emperor! Keep clear! No! We are Sigmar's heirs! Ulrich's wrath on them!
Yeah, see how that cavalry smashed them?
For Heldenhammer! See to it!
And these greatswords should just devastate these spearmen, which they are. We will move our handgunners out here and out here.
Pick your targets! Karl Franz!
Karl Franz should pretty much smash.
Quick march! Traitors! Swordsman! By your command! By Ulrich's wrath!
I'm going to stop them from firing. Oh, yeah, see, friendly fire. Friendly fire. I smashed my own. Alright, so that went super well. We will just end the battle. So I will talk in more detail about the battle screen during some of these later fights. I mean, again, there's a lot to this game. There is a lot to talk about. We wouldn't even get to play if I just kept talking at this point. And it's a lot to absorb. So again, we're just going to kind of take one thing at a time. This screen can be very informative too. It tells you how many units you deployed. Okay, so after the battle, let's see, we earned 243 prestige, we earned 608 gold, and we earned 700 experience. We deployed 765 troops and we lost about 50, leaving us 720 remaining, and we captured 76 of the enemy. They deployed, they deployed about 600, lost 300 remaining, and captured none of our stuff. We also found a lucky arrow, which is a common magic item. At the end of the battle, you will get options. What options exist down here changes for every faction. For the Empire, for the Empire, if you execute all the captives, so the 76 captives that we got, if we execute them all, we get 100 experience. For the entire army, every unit will get 100 experience. If we take them in as like refugees, then it replenishes our army. And if we pardon them, if we just let them go, we get money. I'm going to take the replenishment just because I don't want to. And then we get the 500 from our first quest.
It is important to act quickly if you have any intention of securing lasting authority over the Empire. The people must learn that open dissent cannot be tolerated. Capture Grunberg and snuff out the resistance there.
Capture Grunberg and snuff out the resistance there. There's our next quest. Capture Grunberg. Which
I am Prince and
all we have
Emperor.
to do is... so I'm left-clicking on the army to highlight it. And then if I right-click, see how you get the sword symbol? If I right-click on the town, we will go attack it. This is a Pyrrhic victory. Weird. It's a Pyrrhic victory, not a close victory. So Pyrrhic means it's a really tough battle. Close means it's a close battle. And decisive victory means you're going to smash them. But it's with low casualties, which is... that's like really weird. I don't know if I've ever seen a Pyrrhic victory with low casualties. We're going to fight this battle as well. What is this? Turns remaining. Oh yeah, so if it's a settlement, you can actually just siege it and try to starve them out. But again, we will talk about that later. Let's keep this simple for now. Let's sort of focus on empire building for the moment. So for right now, I'm not going to talk a lot about battle stuff.
Sigma commands! The Empire endures!
So I'm just moving this back. I will talk about strategy. I'm moving that back so that it has the most number of turns possible to shoot. And again, I'm going to put our great swords in the middle so that their buff affects as many people as possible.
Taking aim! Ready!
Now, terrain does matter in these battles. So if I move, that's not what I wanted. If I move my front line down here, and these guys are up on the hill, they should be able to fire right over them. Karl's actually kind of hurt, so it might be best to leave Karl out of this.
To arms, men! Understood!
Taking that position!
The Empire endures! Take position!
This is a full turret. We are the greatest of fools.
For Heldenhammer! Take your targets!
Reichsguard! Take the ground!
It's trying to dodge these shots from the crossbowmen. Nice mortar shot there. So I'm really just sort of trying to use the Reichsguard, use the fast-moving cavalry to distract these units.
Back to the field, fools! We fight for Sigma!
Swordsman! For France! War! War! Fire!
You notice the guns are firing.
Ready for war! Fire! Fire! Yes, sir!
If you'll notice, those great swords are just murdering everything,
Ha! Take that foe! Handgunners!
which is exactly what we'd expect them to do.
The Empire endures! Seething fire! Handgunners! Formation! March! Formation march! Speed! Conditions acceptable! At speed! For Altdorf! Right Guard Knights! Now! Stay with us! Not against! This is my command! We are Sigmar's heirs! Swordsmen! Formation! March! Handgunners! Right Guard Knights! Charge! Formation! March! Weapons at the ready! We are Sigmar's heirs! Moving now! Ready for war! Moving faster! Sigmar demands! The Empire endures! Quick march! No lingering! Take the ground! Cavalry ready! No lingering! Show us the foe! Take the ground!
These guys are being really stubborn they're being shot, they're being charged, they're being... There they go. They held for a long time. $95 more prestige, 239 gold, 1300 XP. Alright, so if you attack a settlement, instead of the previous battle screen that we saw, you'll get this battle screen. You can either just occupy the settlement, or you can loot the settlement and then occupy it. You can sack it, so literally sacking the city just for profit, or you can raze it to the ground. Now, if you occupy it, there is a penalty to your control. So you get an immediate -10, and then for the next three turns, so it gives you an instant -10, and then it gives you -3, but that -3 penalty goes down by 1 point every turn. So on the first turn it'll be -3, then -2, then -1. So this will last for 3 turns and be a total of -6, -3, -2, -1. This basically does the same thing, except you get 15% unit replenishment. Your units will heal 15%. You get some money, and the penalties to control are bigger. It's an immediate -30, and then it's -10 over 10 turns. So -10, -9, -8, -7, -6, -5, -4, -3, -2, -1, 0. Sacking gives an immediate penalty in money, and then raising it just gives money and literally obliterates the settlement. Now, the other thing is if you sack the settlement or you loot and occupy, it damages the buildings. So I'm going to straight occupy right now. And we got a follower out of that too, and we completed our second quest. So we found a hunter, a follower joined our army. And we got the Potion of Farsight, which is from the quest. And we get a new mission, which is to capture 2 entire provinces. Okay, so now if we go look at Grunberg, Grunberg is only tier 1, and it was tier 1 before we attacked it. If it was tier 2, then when you loot and occupy, or when you sack, it will go down a tier. So if it had been tier 2, and you loot and occupy or sack, it goes down to tier 1. In addition, one of the buildings, the main settlement building, will be damaged, and you will have to repair it. They heal naturally over time, but there is an additional control penalty in any province that has damaged buildings. So on top of, so if you loot and occupy, there's the -30 and then the -10 over 10 turns. In addition to that control penalty, there will also be a penalty for having damaged buildings in the settlement. So pretty quickly, if you loot and occupy a bunch of places or sack a bunch of places, pretty quickly control can spiral out of control and causes a rebellion. And you can see that exact thing right here. So when I click on either the city of Altdorf or the town of Grunberg, you can see the income from the settlement, you can see the current control status, and if you hover over it, it will give you all the details of why your control is what it is right now. And then 14, the garrison. So there's the -10 because we just occupied. And at the bottom, provincial instability, there's the -3 over 3 turns. Now, if we click on Grunberg, and then we go into our building browser, we can see the various buildings that we can build in Grunberg. That gives us money and growth and casualty replenishment, and it reduces the recruitment of pistoliers and outriders. So quite often what I will do is I will focus on growth buildings very early, but this resource gives us a whole bunch of bonuses. So it actually gives us more growth and more replenishment than the dedicated growth building, the fields. The weaving house, which is our income, that's like our money maker, it would give us more money, but this does like everything all in one go. So we're going to build the grazing pastures. I kind of want to do a shooting range, but maybe we will do that in Ubersreich, assuming we can even capture Ubersreich. Because he's got an army of 8 there. We've got an army of 9. So we need to pretty seriously outnumber him in order to defeat him. Okay, so as we go along, if we go into, so down here you can see the details of the guy leading the army. So if we had another army and it wasn't Karl Franz leading that army, you would be able to see the Lord's details. So he is rank 2. This is his movement bar, and then these are the items that he currently has equipped. So right now he's got the Reikland Runefang. Interesting. So he starts with the Reikland Runefang. So every elector count has a Runefang. Well, we'll talk about that later. I thought he started with Galmaraz, but he doesn't. He starts with the Reikland Runefang. And that's the lucky arrow that we just got. Okay. So if we click on this little thing, so the blue circle tells you how long his XP is. So if I click on this, it will open his skill tree. And I'm not going to talk about skill trees right now either. For right now, just realize that I am choosing Inspiring Presence first, because that's going to give our whole army 75 experience every turn. So that will slowly level up our army, the whole army. Not only Karl Franz, but everybody. I thought that would go back to 0. So this blue bar, it's full right now because he just leveled. But you'll be able to see that blue bar slowly go around and fill clockwise as he earns XP. Okay.
Bring me to my men.
I'm realizing that there's even more to talk about than I thought there was to talk about, and I don't think I can talk about it all in like one episode, which, I mean, talking about it in one episode wasn't the point or the plan anyway. I'm just going to focus on the empire building part of things for right now. So now I'm going to recruit some new troops. Same similar idea. I'm not actually going to talk about all this right now. I will talk about it in more detail later. I just want to focus on the empire building for the moment. And I am going to recruit spearmen with shields. And then the other thing we need to do is a technology. So every faction has a unique technology tree. You can see that the empires is kind of broken up into sections. Some are very linear. They progress from left to right, and you have to choose them in order. The empires is kind of broken up all over the place, and you can kind of pick and choose what's most important to you. This is a really, these are really important. The two electric count ones are really important, but we will talk about those later. These are two important ones to start with as well. More growth, and more campaign movement range. So I'm going to go with growth first, and this one doesn't cost anything, but these technologies you can see will cost money, and these technologies cost prestige. But it does take 3 turns. It shows you right there. It takes 3 turns to research that, and that is based off of your current research rate, which sometimes there are technologies or buildings that increase your research rate. Right now, we do not have a surplus. It's going to take all of our research to research this in 3 turns. This is what I mean by linear. If we research grain silos, that will unlock continuous production. If we research continuous production, that will unlock assembly line. If we research assembly line, that will unlock Imperial Architects. However, if you notice, within each of these blocks, the first technology is already unlocked. So we can research any of these, like right now. It's only these grayed out ones that follow after the initial one. You have to unlock this in order to research these, or you have to unlock state troops in order to research any of the rest within the infantry block. If you hover over them, it will actually explain that, because at the very top it says requires technology, state troop standards. So over here, if you look at manorialism, you actually have to have Clergy of Sigmar, Imperial University, Intelligence Sharing, and Engineers Guild. So if you research Engineers Guild, see how the arrows link? And this is grayed out. If you research Engineers Guild, that does not unlock manorialism. you actually have to research all 4 of these to unlock the center one. An Engineers Guild is a good example of what I said about technologies increasing your research rate. So if we were to grab the Engineers Guild, that would actually increase our research rate, and we would research stuff even more quickly. So you can always see that there's like arrows that tell you like how these unlocks work. We unlock this, it unlocks both of these. We unlock, if we research even one of those, oh no, you've got to have both. So this unlocks both of these. You have to research both of these in order to get the Hall of Duels. These are all showing grayed out because we simply don't have enough currency to research them. So every faction, their tree is unique. Not only what technologies are in the tree and what those technologies do, but also the layout and how you progress through it is different for every faction. This is a very open tree where you can sort of pick and choose the technologies you want, and that is part of the hallmark of the Empire. Since they are a combined arms force, if you decide to go cavalry heavy, then you can research all the cavalry stuff, you know, at will, and that buffs all of your cavalry. Okay, and then this little notification down here says we have... Oh, I didn't realize that we start in control of Helmgart. So Helmgart's a particular kind of settlement. It's not, it's its own province, it's a fortress. It guards this pass. And that's really all I'll say about that at the moment. I think I'm just going to put that on growth. That's a commandment. I will talk about commandments in a bit. Because again, I kind of just want to focus on buildings at the moment. And then I will end the turn. So down here in the bottom right, the hourglass with the flames behind it. We click end turn. And then it goes through the end turn. I currently have it on fast forward. If you click this, it will put it on normal speed. On normal speed, you watch every army and every faction that you have line of sight to. You watch every single army move and watch what they do one at a time. And you can also pause the turn by clicking here. So if you need to get up and step away, you can pause the turn, and you can also put it on normal speed to watch all the action. So he is recruiting.
Grey Guardian.
The college's endorsement. Altdorf. The colleges of magic rarely agree, but on this occasion, they are aligned and will support you. A battle wizard is sent to accompany your forces. So this is just like an event that happens. I didn't really do anything to cause this to happen. We just got a free battle wizard. So that just happens.
Summon the Elector Counts.
So sadly, Karl cannot reach Ubersreich in one turn. So what I'm going to do...
Make haste, men.
Oh, he leveled again.
I am Prince and Emperor.
Now I'm going to take Route Marcher, which adds to his campaign movement range. It's only 5%, but it can make a real difference.
Bring me to my men.
I'm going to move him as far as I can.
Step to it.
What kind of wizard is this? Conroy
Smoke
Billings
and mirrors.
is a grey wizard. Not my favorite,
Grey Guardian.
but not bad. So Grey Wizards get the lore of magic that's called Shadow. The lore of shadows. And we are going to put him right into the army.
Summon arcane artifacts. As is my right by Sigmar's
Now, I know
crown,
I'm kind of skipping
I
over some
command
stuff.
here.
You know, just kind of bear with me. We're going to recruit a couple of archers. And likely what's going to happen.
Sigmar,
So he's probably going to go from 8 to 10. And he's probably going to come over here and defend Uber's Reich.
The nation calls. What?
Now, something else I should do. Okay, so before I intern, let's talk about this stuff down in the bottom right. So, this is your end turn, but it is also... Hey, Jenny. Thank you, that's wonderful. That's very kind of you to say. I don't do Discord, though, but thank you. This is your end turn. This is also where notifications will show up. So like that exclamation mark that reminded us that we had to choose a commandment for Helmgart. This is an important thing to watch. Sometimes you'll get a face with an exclamation mark, and that tells you that you have an army or a person that has not moved. So this central icon is kind of a key icon. It's your end turn, it's your notifications of important things and missed things. The arrow that's over here, if you have a notification that you sort of don't care about, that skips it. So if when it notified us to put a commandment on Helmgart, if I had clicked this little arrow, it would have just skipped by that. This is the objective screen. So this tells us all our current missions. The first two missions that were given are done. This is the currently active mission, is to possess 2 provinces in their entirety. This tab over here tells us the victory conditions for a short campaign, a long campaign, or a domination campaign. We're not going to read those right now. I'm probably not going to read them at all. Like, you can read those for yourself. I don't know if they really need to be explained. Maybe they do. That is your objectives panel. This is the diplomacy panel. Which I'm not going to talk about right this second either. Actually, yes, I will. I will talk about the diplomacy panel. So, these are all the factions that we currently are aware of. These are not all the factions in the game, just the factions we're aware of. As we push out and we explore the world, this list will grow and grow and grow and grow as we become aware of more people. It is grouped by general faction and then the name of the lord. So all the Bretonnian lords are all together, all the dwarves are together, all of the empire is together. Then it shows you a general strength ranking, so the lower the better. If you are strength rank 1, then you are the strongest faction in the game. So all of these are... We are strength rank 120. So all of the empire is kind of in the same ballpark between strength 100 and 200. It shows you how many settlements they have. It shows you any treaties that you have with them. So these cross swords mean we are at war with the secessionists. Ally options, if trade is possible, and then the general attitude of them. It's all listed here. This, if you want to click on a faction and then try to do diplomacy with them, this little button lets you initiate diplomacy. This button lets you exit out of the screen. We'll go back in. We'll click on
Amethyst
Whistling.
Mage.
We'll
There
click
are higher
Initiate
powers at
Diplomacy.
play than you.
So these are...
do you need?
So over here, we have no current treaties with Elspeth von Draken. Strength rank. She's protective. She has Imperial authority. Reichland, this is us over here. Reichland the Empire. Strength rank 120. Reliability very high. If you make promises in diplomacy, so if you make trade agreements and then break them, or you say non-aggression but then declare war, or you claim to be an ally but then attack, that affects your reliability. And your reliability affects your likelihood of actually getting diplomacy. So, these are all the different things you can do. So trade agreement, military access, defensive alliance, military alliance, break an existing trade agreement, which we don't have one, send them money or demand money from them, join their war against somebody, declare war on them, or trade settlements. So what would happen, just out of curiosity, what would happen if we went join war, join their war against the Night Court? So it improves our standing a little bit, but not a whole lot. Once you have something up here configured, you can either just propose the offer, or you can balance the offer and say, yes, this is what I want, but what will you give me for it? Or what do I have to pay you in order to get it? So if we click balance offer right now, she's willing to give us $400 to join her war against that faction. That is basically how that works. Now, the other really neat thing that they added with Game 3 is this quick deal. You click on quick deal, then non-aggression, trade, military access, defensive alliance, military alliance, join confederation, and peace treaty is all listed here, and it will immediately show you who's willing to do each of these. So this is everybody willing to have a non-aggression pact. So you can't get non-aggression with the rest of the Empire, and that is because of the Empire's mechanic about how you unify the Empire. Normally, so if you were playing the dwarves, normally the other dwarves would be listed here, and you could make non-aggression pacts with the other dwarves. They're not listed. The Empire isn't listed here as the Empire because of how their campaign mechanics work. We're going to click on trade. So we have non-aggression with the Ice Court and with Karaz-Karak. But Talabek land is willing to trade. So if we trade, this will increase our income a little bit. So we will trade with them.
Approach us, friend, and make your offer.
And if we trade with them, they're also willing to give us military access. Now, Karl doesn't have to worry about trespassing on other provinces of the Empire because he doesn't actually get any penalties for doing that. However, if we have military access, that's permission to march armies through somebody else's lands. So if you have military access, marching an army through their lands does not incur diplomatic penalties. And we can get $500. So we will 100% do that. Go back to quick deals. No, quick deal. Nobody else wants trade right now. Nobody wants to give us military access. Yes. Certainly nobody wants to be defensive allies. That's not shocking. Or military alliance or confederation. or peace. So none of that is surprising. We could maybe get trade with Kislev.
My Polks are at your service.
So that's not bad. They want us to pay them. They want us to pay them $200 to get trade with them. I mean, that sounds good to me. Karazakarak, though, the dwarves, trying to get trade with the dwarves is going to be quite a bit more difficult. Really? He starts at war with the Wood Elves? Interesting.
Great honor or glorious death.
And he starts at war with the dwarves. So I don't want to take either of these because I don't want to take non-aggression with them because I do not want to tick off the Wood Elves of the dwarves. Okay. Alright. Where did it put me? It put me way out in the middle of nowhere for some reason. Alright, so that was the diplomacy button. This is our technology tree. This is the elector count screen. We will come back to this, but you can see that currently, so we only hold the Reichland. As we take over like each of these, we will get the option of putting an elector count in charge of that province. So the only one we have right now is the Reichland. Karl Franz is in charge of it, and these are what we get for having that province under our control. We get this bonus, the Dragon Tooth Runefang, which is already on Karl Franz, and that is why we have Karlberg Greatswords. Which now that I think about it... No. So the next Karlberg Greatsword doesn't become available for another 13 turns. So, man, I could really use one of those, I'm not going to lie. So that's our elector count screen. And then lastly, here's our electoral machinations. The electoral machinations panel allows you to spend prestige to perform unique actions across the campaign via 2 tabs, the Emperor's Decrees and Diplomatic Talks. So if you see, this will actually explain this. The Emperor's Decrees tab offers unique targeted actions that can provide special benefits across your campaign. Emperor's Decrees can boost your armies and settlements, while some can target other Empire factions and elector counts who have yet to join you to send them aid, confederate them, or declare war without affecting fealty. Selecting an action will reveal its effects, which can also be upgraded via the Emperor of the Empire technology. Okay. Selected actions also display their permitted target type, prestige cost, and cooldown time in this panel. Once a valid target is selected, actions are performed using this button. Diplomatic Talks allows you to improve or worsen diplomatic relationships between factions. Oh, that's... The 2 factions whose diplomatic relationship you wish to manipulate are selected here. Start of a campaign, you can only manipulate relationships between elector count factions by researching elector count technologies. However, it can eventually be possible to manipulate relationships between other cultures. With your desired factions selected, the Improve Relations and Decrease Relations buttons allow you to spend prestige to improve or worsen diplomatic relationships. Done. So, we only have 494 prestige. call to arms basically is recruitment oriented. It reduces the cost and increases, lets us recruit more in one turn. Wow, instantly get 2,500 experience. Immediately gain 1 population surplus. Reduce corruption. Wow. Immediately complete 1 turn of local and global recruitment. So if you were recruiting something that takes like 2 turns to recruit, it would immediately take 1 turn off of that. Send aid. Huh, interesting. Gift, this is like gift an army. This just gifts an army to another elector count. Wow, so that Karaberg Greatsword that I was just looking at, that's going to refresh, doesn't refresh for another 13 turns, this immediately refreshes all state troops. That's huge. Interesting. This lets you immediately declare war on elector count without ticking off the other elector counts. Interesting. Interesting. So if you can get somebody to 10 fealty, this lets you immediately confederate them. But when you confederate them, all of the other elector counts, their fealty goes down by 2. So those are the decrees. So her fealty right now is 4. Six, 7, 5, 6, 5. Just going to go through them all. 7, 6, and 8. So getting Hochland would kind of be the easiest. Sorry, that's Talabek land, who I just got trade with. I'm not sure how you increase fealty, though. Does it have to be... Wizenland is who I want the most. Is it only through gifting them an army? There used to be events that would happen. I wonder if those are still there. So these electoral machinations with your prestige is like the main mechanic for the Empire. This is like your main campaign mechanic, is you want to be earning prestige and you want to be doing things with prestige. I'm going to hold off on doing anything with it for the moment, though, because I want to see if an event occurs. I want to see if the events are still there, and I want to see how they work. So we will just end the turn. Man, there is, the more I talk about one thing, I realize that there's like a whole other thing to talk about. There is a lot of depth to this game, which, I mean, that's part of why I like it. Really, an Undercity? So that's a little frustrating, as we have an undercity in Altdorf. Oh, you know what? It might actually, I think you might start with one. Okay, so what is an undercity? That is a thing that Skaven can do, and there is a bunch of things that the Skaven can do with that, including, so what an undercity is it basically ends up, so what you do is you click on, so this little red eyeball means there's a Skaven undercity, and we've managed to discover it. If you click on the place, then you'll see this discovered foreign entities. If you click on that, it shows you what's there. So what it does is it gives them these 4 slots, and they have options as to what to build in those 4 slots. And there's a variety of effects, up to and including setting a bomb underneath your city and just exploding your city. So we are going to spend 750 gold to just get rid of that, because I do not want to be dealing with that whatsoever.
Sigma, no!
Okay, so here's one of those things that
I refuse.
really kind of bothers
Not
me.
likely.
So he had 8 people, and now
I will
he
not
has
obey.
13. So you should not be able to
I am
recruit
Prince
13
and
people
Emperor.
in one turn. So if I go into encamp
In the
stance
name
for a
of
moment,
Magnus.
you notice all of these take 2 turns to recruit. So I can recruit 5 units. I can recruit 5 units at a time, but not in one turn. So this is what kind of bothers me about the AI. This is one of the advantages they get,
Who calls?
is their recruitment times
Yes, to unite
are
the provinces.
less than yours. So he only should have been able to recruit 2 people, not 5 people.
So,
And I am honestly not sure if I can
ignore that.
win this battle, because we are now massively outnumbered. 2, 4, 6, 7. So he's got, in
I
essence, a
refuse.
full 20 stack,
by the
and
Comet.
we've got 14 folks.
By Sigma, no! I see no other option. Is it time? Sigma forbids this.
Sorry, I should be explaining this. So if you click on the
Not
settlement,
likely.
if you click on this button down here, it will show you what forces are actually protecting the settlement. You can only see the icons. Oh, I guess you can. Spearman, spearman, swordsman, crossbowman.
I command here.
I'm going to save this. So what can I do right now? I can either do recruitment, experience, or population surplus. I don't think I want to do any of those.
Now.
$20 to $14. Man, oh man, oh man.
I am Franz. They will obey.
So what I could do,
Moving off.
okay,
In the name of Magnus.
so when you click on your
Ready.
army on the campaign map, down here in the bottom left, there are various stances. So the flat line is just normal stance. Channeling stance lowers your movement. So if you see, this is your movement bar, you see how it's full yellow, 125 out of 125. If we go into channeling stance, it takes just a little bit of your movement. Now we have 115 out of 125, but it increases the winds of magic that's available in the area. In camp stance, it takes half your movement, but it lets you replenish in foreign territory. It makes you immune to most attrition. It gives you access to global recruitment, because you can normally only globally recruit when you are in a city or town. If you start recruiting, then your campaign movement range is disabled, so you have to be stationary while recruiting. It increases your ambush defense chance, your leadership, and your melee defense. So it's like making a camp while you're out in the wilderness, like building like walls around the camp and setting up like a military defensive camp out in the wilderness. Raiding stance also takes half your movement, but it lowers control in the target territory, and your troops end up vigor in battle winded. It reduces the endurance of your units in battle. It will earn money. If it's an enemy territory, it will earn money off of them, and that money is directly taken off of their income. But it also has diplomatic penalties with that other faction. Ambush technically makes your army invisible. So if I go into ambush and I right click and drag, you can see the green line with the arrow shows you where I'm going, the exact path of my movement. If I go over here, you can see in the little Isleheart pop-up, Isleheart, Empire, Secessionists, the Empire, Province, Reichland, ambush success chance 70%. So if I were to go into ambush over here, then basically there's like a 70% chance that I remain invisible. And if an army walks over top of me while I am invisible, then you get a special kind of battle called an ambush battle, where you have a much higher chance of winning the battle, theoretically.
Let's go.
Then there's, so that's ambush, camp, raiding, and then there's forced march. If you just want to move like a really far away, this is normal. If you see this green outline, that's as far as I can move on normal. You see the slightly lighter green? That's how far you can move on forced march. But if you are in forced march, so it gives you an extra 50 movement, but you can't recruit. If somebody attacks you, you can't attack in forced march. So vigor in battle tired, if somebody attacks you while you are in forced march, all of your units start the battle tired, which gives them a penalty to their stance. Ambush defense chance minus 25%. So if somebody tries to ambush you, they have a much higher chance of succeeding. And if you get attacked while in forced march, there is no option to retreat from the battlefield. You are locked into battle. So if you get attacked while in forced march, your stats are nerfed. You can't retreat. You know, you should really only use forced march when you are sure you're going to be safe. And battle initiation disabled. That's what I said. You can't attack in forced march. So, what I'm trying to decide, do I think I can win this battle? So, he is in forced march. You can see that right here. So, his main force of 13 guys will actually be tired. Their stats will actually be nerfed if I attack them right now. Let's see if we can win this.
Men, we must
I
attack.
will be very surprised if we can. Yeah, so the auto-resolve is valiant defeat because we are seriously outnumbered. Let's give this a try though. Some of my units are a little bit better quality than his. And we have a caster, whereas he does not. Magic can make a massive difference in battles. He has a greatsword, but it's not a Karlberg greatsword. Oh, he has handgunners too. I hope he started with those handgunners, because I don't think he should have those handgunners either. I think Reiksguard are better than Empire Knights. Man. I don't know.
Spearmen! By Ulrich's wrath, the Heldenhammer!
Gonna be honest, this doesn't look good, quite frankly. Okay, so we're gonna put some of our people in the trees.
Handgunners!
And we're gonna hide the Reiksguard over there.
Mortar! We are Sigmar's heirs! Sigmar calls! By Galmaraz!
He's on foot, so he will not be very fast at all. Speed 35.
Ready for war!
Oh, he's faster than Karl, interestingly enough. Alright, so we're gonna...
Fleet! We hunt this day, yet our quarry is neither boar nor deer, no. As Sigmar fought, so
I thought he was coming right at us.
We will become part of the legend.
So we're
by order of the Grand Theogenist.
We're gonna go up here,
Show
and when
no
you're in battles,
mercy.
you've actually got some like speed controls here. So we're gonna fast forward this for a moment. Oh, I was wondering if the mortar would fire, and the mortar is firing. So I'm just dodging mortar shots here. Wow, that's a lot of shooting. The trees should block a lot of that, but I'm still kind of surprised that
Advance! At speed! At once!
So one strategy that some people use is they will
Onwards!
do the exact dodging that I'm doing right now and try to waste all of the enemy's ammunition. The yellow line at the bottom of their bar is their ammo.
With haste! Now! melt their tiny minds! Forward! March! What? Elevate cannon! March as one! Ready! Haste! Forward!
Worried that he's gonna shoot.
Speed! Fleet! Quickly! Now! Onwards! Crafting illusions! Advance! Swiftly! Now! Ready! March! One! Right guard, Ulrich's wrath on them! Crew to cannons! For Heldenhammer!
Yeah, you get to shoot first.
Mortar!
Didn't do a lot of damage though, so we will.
Fire!
What am I? Shoot, what is that shooting at? Lost track of what it's shooting at. Where's the other?
Go! No lingering! Moving now! We are Sigmar's heirs! Moving! The Grey Order! We are Sigmar's heirs! Ready for war! Quickly! At speed! For Oldorf! Knowledge is power! Karl Franz! Algo calls! Very well! Your orders?
Just gonna move some of this up a little bit.
Reichsguard Knights!
Taking position! To battle! At speed!
Ready for war! To battle! Prepare for combat!
To arms!
Casting shadows!
Moving now! Get them!
Halberdiers! War! The Empire endures! Well, I'm not losing control of what I'm trying to do here. Struggling to
For the Helden Hammer! Go! Formation march! We serve the Emperor!
we obey!
Get them! Quick march! By your command! Take the ground! No lingering! Charge!
Sigmarcos! Odu! Their minds are mine!
Brace yourselves! At speed! Prepare for combat! In the name of the twin-tailed comet! Quickly! War!
See to it! You're supposed to be attacking them. Why are you... Well, that's not going to be good. That's like exactly what I was trying to avoid.
Combat! Attack! Awaiting command! Take the ground! Formation march! Go! No lingering! Taking position! Quick march!
Now, what should you be?
Mortar! The Empire endures!
I will not stand idle!
Now
War!
Come on.
Moving now!
Don't tell me that he just gets to run right out.
Handgunners!
Okay, the mortar's offline.
Mortar! Heading out! By Ulrich's wrath!
Okay, Lord's just about dead thanks to the handgunners. That's huge.
Destroy!
Man, these guys are holding. Oh, you're getting nuked. You're getting nuked. Get them out of there. Get them out of there.
Preserve us! By Gal Maraz! For Gal Maraz! I will break them! Handgunners!
Yes, General! Formation! Arms!
This is going like way better than I ever expected, honestly.
Swordsman! Sigma calls! Sigma guides!
Wow, I am pretty surprised that stuff held. Woo! Wow. I can only assume that was because they were tired from forced march. I'm just murdering a few extras here as they run away. So I know that they have tweaked and changed Imperial Authority. When we were in the Imperial Authority screen, and there were the two tabs, Decrees and Diplomacy, and we could spend points to do various things, that's new stuff. That didn't exist at one point. Wow, we got like 500. So again, we're just going to occupy. There's no real need to loot and occupy. We got a hedge wizard, and we got a pit fighter.
I command here.
Building browser, let's take a look at what our situation is with Ubersreich. Okay, so Ubersreich starts with a training field. So next turn, Altdorf goes to level 2. And that would technically we could upgrade our training field to get crossbowmen. But the other option would be to they have the Red Moon Inn, adds walls to the settlement, and provides garrison. Oh, so can you do that instead of walls? But 4K, that costs a lot. I almost always put walls in all of my settlements, but anyway. So what I was thinking is I only get 3 slots. So if I put growth and walls, then the third building has to be the Red Moon Inn, which doesn't actually let you put any recruitment in this settlement. So that's not great. So this little exclamation mark means that you have duplicated buildings within the province, which you might intend to do, but more than likely you probably don't intend to do. So for right now, I'm going to demolish that. And I'm going to leave it in the capital, Altdorf. And then we are going to do some more skill points.
Summon the Elector Counts.
So Franz got 2 points out of that. We already have Route Marcher, and we already have Inspiring Presence. Now I'm going to get Hard to Hit, and I'm going to get Deadly Blade. For him, his starting spell, his only starting spell, is Melkoff's Mystifying Miasma. But if you notice, we can't take any of the other stuff until we put a point here. So we're going to put a point in there. I don't really care about that. I haven't really talked about spells either. I'm going to grab Enfeebling Foe for now. And then we want... Honestly, I'm not sure if I want any of that. Now, I'm very tempted. Still want to hold on to... I want to hold on to my prestige because I want to see if...
The nation calls.
If... the events that used to happen still happen, because quite often what happens with those events is, so for instance, one event might be Marienburg, Middenland declares war on Hochland, and then it will ask you, do you want to spend prestige points to stop the war? Do you want to side with Hochland, which will raise your fealty with Hochland, but reduce it with Middenland? Or do you want to side with Middenland, which will raise your fealty with Middenland, but reduce it with Hochland? So there'll be like 4 options. I forget what the last one is. But events like that will crop up. And so I usually really want to hang on to my prestige, because if you don't have any prestige when that first one pops up, then you're kind of out of luck, basically, is what I'm trying to say. So my standing with the ice court actually went down? Huh? But my relationship is going up.
Yes.
So I know I'm going into a lot of screens, and you're probably asking a lot of questions like, well, what does that mean? What is that?
Bring
What
me
is
to
that?
my men.
And I get it. I get
Who
it.
calls?
I do. I get it. And we will talk about it at some point. But right now, I just want to kind of, well, not kind of, I want to focus on just the empire building, how to build buildings and how to build your empire. So at some point, I will want to move this building out of Altdorf. But the reason I want it here now is because it will get me crossbowmen and an empire captain faster than if I try to put it in Ubersreich right now. So right now, my focus is not going to recruit anything this turn either. Right now, my focus is trying to get some better quality troops right away. Yeah, so he had to recruit a new lord, and he immediately starts recruiting, but he should not be able to recruit in one turn. So there's our technology finished, so that will increase our replenishment rate, and it gives us more growth.
In the name of Magnus.
So he's trying to recruit, but he's not going to be able to recruit fast enough. So this should be an easy auto-resolve. Yeah, decisive victory with low casualties. But it's going to kill our halberdier. It's going to kill him off because he's at half health. So now we have to manually fight this in order to avoid losing our guy. So this is one of the things that I don't like about auto-resolve is sometimes it not exactly forces you, but sometimes it strongly pushes you, motivates you to manually fight battles that I don't really think you should have to.
Hit targets!
Actually, we're just going to leave you like right out of the battle entirely. We'll put you two guys there to guard that. And you three right here to guard this. And that will be group 1. You will be group 2 on guard mode. On guard mode. We'll put our Reichsguard right there. Karl Franz right in the middle, along with our caster. And we'll start battle.
To arms, men! Mortar! Reichsguard! No lingering!
Oh, that's a wow! Nasty mortar hit. Nasty, nasty.
Casting shadows! Reichsguard! Quick march! To battle! Battle wizard!
Yeah, that one wasn't so good.
Reichsguard knights! Go! I'll go call!
What happens when you give the province's power? Cast magic against them.
The ground quakes! Take the ground! The Empire! Reichsguard knights! Taking position! Sorcery! The Grey Order! I will break them! For the Empire! Ah! Sigmar calls! No! Sigmar calls! Mortar! Eager! Death! Don't give them an inch! Spearmen! Back to order!
For war!
Quick march!
They are using dark forces against the enemy.
For Heldenhammer! Formation, march!
Grey wizard!
Halberdiers!
Oops, you should be getting them out of there. Not watching what I'm doing.
Handgunners! Sigmar calls!
Cannons! Fire!
State troops ready! Yes, my lord! Light yes, sir! Quickly!
Just running down the fleeing troops with my cav. There. I'm shooting him with guns just to
Ready for war!
Ready! Fleet!
because why take damage on your lord when you don't have to?
Missiles at the ready!
Taking aim! Formation march!
Yeah, then they break. Morale broke. Morale broke. This is all stuff I will talk about. Don't worry. Again, we're just focusing on realm building. There's so much to talk about. There's just so much to this game. If you've never played a Total War game before, like even knowing which buttons to press, like what screens to go into, to even know like where something is, like just figuring out the interface is half the battle if you have never played a Total War game ever before. Okay. So I meant to check something before I looked at this. So in addition to telling you down here, it actually pops up in the middle of the screen with what you earned or gained from the battle. Recruit rank 6 now on Karl. Okay. I wanted to see what tier that was at, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to loot and occupy this time to show you what it does. So, now that we have all 4 settlements in the province becomes ours. Once you hold the province, that's interesting. Oh, that's right. I actually do control 2. I control 2. I was about to say that quest is wrong, but I control 2 because I control the fort of Helmgart, which is its own little province. That's kind of hilarious. So forts are strategically located. There's not very many of them, but there are strategic forts located on the map. Helmgart is one. Fort Bergbress is another. There is another fort here in this pass. Oddly enough, there is not a fort in Blackfire Pass, but forts are unique buildings that are only in specific locations on the map. Your enemies cannot move past a fort. In order for, so for instance, if this undead faction, if the Bearer Legion were to declare war on the Empire, they cannot move through this pass without taking Helmgart. And for every tier that you increase Helmgart, its garrison increases. So if you get Helmgart to tier 5, it has a massive garrison, and all the forts have very defensive, unique battle map that literally people have to like siege the fort and try to break the fort in order to take it. And you have to take the fort as an enemy to be able to move through this pass. So they're an interesting, unique defensive fortification, basically. Now, what happens when you loot and occupy? So this happens.
Here.
You notice both of these buildings are now damaged. That's what this like weird border means. And if you hover over it, you can either repair the building or you can just demolish the building. So sorry, on this building you can demolish it. If it's the main settlement building, the core building, you would abandon the settlement entirely. And if you abandon the settlement entirely, then it becomes a ruin. It's the same as razing it to the ground. The settlement goes bye-bye. Now there's a green bar because, like I said, this will slowly heal over time. You can even see on the description up here, it says farm damaged. So this is what happens when you loot and occupy. This was likely tier 2, so it went down a tier and it's damaged. So we're going to repair it because, well, I'll show you. So now if I hover over my control details, you'll see Conquest next turn only, minus 30. So that's from the loot and occupy. The loot and occupy gives you minus 30 immediately, and then provincial instability minus 1 per turn is at minus 10 because the loot and occupy does minus 30 and minus 10. And then devastation. If you notice at the bottom of that list, devastation is at minus 2. That's because we have 2 damaged buildings. So I immediately want to repair those. Even though they will repair over time, I'm going to immediately repair them to get rid of that devastation penalty. I'm going to build more fields. I'm going to upgrade the rally field so that I can get crossbowmen in 2 turns when that completes. And then we are going to upgrade. So the little, you see the glowing wrench here? The glowing wrench means that we have 1 surplus and that these buildings can be upgraded to tier 2. Now, in 3 turns, right there, the 3, in 3 turns, we will have a second surplus. So your option, and we could upgrade Altdorf to tier 3. So your option is, do you take these to tier 2 first, or do you wait and save up and upgrade Altdorf to tier 3? How much are we making per turn right now? We are making 110 per turn. And that should go up when this repairs and when this builds. Or I wonder if that is the projected growth. Either way, if you focus on growth buildings early, you can usually generate that growth fairly quickly. So here's my feeling or my thought. So if I upgrade, I think I'm going to do Grunberg first. If I upgrade Grunberg, I think on the very next turn, yeah, see, so I'm at 50 out of 125, and I'm making 110 per turn. So next turn I'll have 160. So immediately I'm going to be able to upgrade Ubersreich, and then immediately the turn after I'm going to be able to upgrade Eilhart. So I either wait 3 turns to go to tier 3, or I wait 6 turns. 1, 2, 3. 3 turns to upgrade all of these to tier 2, and then 3 more turns to get this to tier 3. So it's either 3 turns or 6 turns. Of course, the other way to look at that is, so quite often I will do the tier 2 upgrades very quickly and right away. And that's because each of these upgrades also adds growth. But going tier 3 very early might have huge advantages. For one, it unlocks two of our landmark buildings, which are pretty important. Great cannons and war wagons with mortars. Just sort of debating in my head which way to go. So, I mean, artillery is important. Land ship, rocket battery, Hellblaster volley gun. So it doesn't really, either way I go, it's not going to speed me to tier 4 because it's 6 turns either way. If I wait three turns and go to tier 3, then I'm still going to want to upgrade Eilhart, Ubersreich, and Grunberg like next. So it's not going to rush you to tier 4. However, rushing to tier 3 gets us like cannons. And artillery, as much as I would rather have rocket batteries, artillery is kind of a key thing that we need. The cavalry is also important, but technically I can get cavalry through the landmark building. So yes, I am going to hold off for right now. So we're going to build the clay pit, and we're going to build the gunsmith, and we're going to wait 3 turns and rush tier 3 is what we're going to do. Hang on 1 second, I'll be right back. Which I apologize that I had to take a quick break because I actually am going to call it there for the day. So that is the first 4 turns of our How to Play Total War with Emperor Karl Franz. Yes. Actually, I might as well do his skill points. Deadly Blade, we'll go click right and go over to our Grey Wizard, and we'll take the Penumbral Pendulum is what we will do. Ubersreich, what can I... No, we're waiting. Alright, sorry, that's the other thing I wanted to talk about. Now, I knew I'd forgotten something. I was about to save and go away. There's one other thing I need to talk about. So now that we own the province, So this is why we could put a commandment on Helmgart, is once you own the whole province, and not until you own the whole province, then and only then can you put a commandment on the province. And the commandments change for every faction. So what are the Empire's commandments? This one lowers recruitment cost and gives you another recruitment capacity. So what that means is when we go to recruit, you've only got 2 slots. If you issue this commandment, then you would have 3 slots. Now, if I do that, you'll notice that there's a little, like, light blue circle. It's actually like 2 arrows kind of pointing in a circular clock pattern. That means it takes a turn for that to apply. So that's not immediate. When I click end turn, on the next turn, that will take effect. Okay, so there's a recruitment one. There's a growth one that also reduces the price of buying your buildings, which is what we're going to put on for right now, because I also want to, like, more growth is better right now, right? So we're actually going to activate the growth one. This one just boosts the income of every building. If it's a money generating building, it goes up, it produces 5% more income. So that's if you're low on money. This one reduces corruption and reduces the chance of plague spreading. So that's all got to do with the forces of chaos. We will talk about that another time. And then this one is control. If my control starts to really, really suffer, and I think that this province is going to rebel, then you could activate this commandment to help mitigate, to help repair, and to help mitigate the bad control and help repair your control back to positive numbers. It also happens to boost income from trade tariffs faction-wide. So that's actually a really good one too. But for right now, we're going to focus on the growth. Now, what do I mean by control? So right here, this control figure that we've talked, I've mentioned a couple times now, this gives you all the details. So right now we are at negative 23, and we're going to go down another 39. So that's negative 62. Next turn, we're going to be at negative 62. What is currently affecting our control? So positives, the green numbers are positives. Having 2 characters in the province is +5. Having a military presence is +3. The buildings that we've currently got give us another +2. And our current level of imperial authority gives us +1. Negatives are that conquest, because we just looted and occupied. Provincial instability is the other half of that loot and occupy penalty. So that's going to be -10 for the next 10 turns, 10, 9. Going down, being that penalty is reduced by 1 for each turn. So this turn it's -10, next turn it'll be -9, -8, -7, down until it disappears. We're currently collecting income is a -4. Our difficulty level of very hard is -4. And then that devastation, which will be repaired this turn, is another -2. Now the collect income is right over here. So out of this 1492 that we're making every turn, 473 is coming from this province. If you turn that off by unchecking that, then our income goes down to 1019, but the collected income penalty goes away from our control. So that is another way that you can control, that you can manage your control. So we're going to leave the income on. We are going to leave the income on, and we will pick another technology. I'm going to do that supply wagons because I love having more campaign movement range. So give me more campaign movement range. I mean, another 10% off the cost of all buildings would be nice too, I'm not going to lie. I mean, this whole line would be pretty nice to be, yeah, anyway, you get the idea. I'm still not going to spend any prestige yet. I want to see if a prestige event occurs. And we are not going to upgrade either of these settlements because we're going to rush Tier 3 on Altdorf. So the little arrow that I said, see, we've got the hammer with the exclamation mark saying that there are buildings available to be built. If I hit this button, it skips that notification. And if there's multiple notifications, you have to hit the skip button to get by each one of them. And if all the notifications are gone, then you get the end turn button. So if I click end turn, then it will end the turn. And we are on to turn 5. Now, the beastmen are around somewhere. We are still at war with somebody, because if we were not at war with anybody, chances are somebody would declare. Skull Smashers are dead. Maintain control of 3 provinces. Okay, I'm gonna save. I haven't played Karl Franz in a while, and his campaign, specifically the Prestige, has really changed. So I'm still being very tentative about spending any prestige. Yeah, so 2 turns. 2 turns until we have a surplus.
Is it time? Yes, to unite the provinces.
Actually, before I do that...
I'll ignore that. I am Franz. They will obey.
Yeah, so at first she wasn't pushing out and I was getting a little concerned. But now she's pushing out.
I have torn myself
so
from my studies for this.
Just to get some freestanding with her. Yeah, so I can't. I was hoping that I could talk her into trade. So here is something I would like to know about. Did I save this? I did. Okay. So I did save it. So here is something that I would like to know about how diplomacy works, which I am not sure about at the moment. So if I join war against that and I just do it without making any money off of it. Whoops.
I have torn myself from my studies for this.
+7. So that increases our standing by 7, which is not much. Now, what happens if look upon my flesh, my warriors. Once I was a mighty warrior king, destined to live the life of a god. Yet my flesh withers upon my bone. My frail body succumbs to the ravages of time, and soon death will claim me. But it shall not always be so. Inscription on the great obelisk of Kemri.
The Empire is
So if I join
assembled,
war
and you distract
and I
me
ask
with
for
this,
money,
this will
it still goes up by 7. So there's not actually like any reason not to take the money. I always wondered if maybe not taking the money actually increased your
I will
standing
listen,
by
but my
more.
time is short.
And apparently it does not.
I will listen, but my...
Nobody seems to want trade though. Alright. Okay. Well, that's it for today. We've talked some about building your empire. There's still a whole lot more to talk about. But we will talk about some of that next time. I am not sure. I think we will probably talk about technology trees and skill trees next time. Will probably be our focus. Maybe, I mean, I talked about the technology tree. I'm not sure if there's much else there to cover. Maybe we should focus on battle next time. I don't know. We'll play it by ear. I hope you're having a great Dane. I hope you're having a great Dane. I hope you are having a great day, and I will talk to you soon.